people are still willing to pay these higher prices, then that is a sign of a strong economy, because they can and they will. All of this inflation presumably stops when people eventually get to a point and say, we're going to stop doing that. That has not happened, will it? Brian Deese is the director of the National Economic Council, joins us from the White House. Director, very good to have you.
Good to be here.
Let me ask you first about what the president has been saying about this, Director, that we might already be at the peak and that things are going to stabilize, start coming down. Is that the way you see it?
We never put too much stake in 1 month's data, but what I can tell you is that the data in November, they were high, but it was less strong than in October, and about half of the increase in November was driven by energy and cars. Those are both sectors where we have seen some moderation in prices even since November. The price of gas nationally is falling. The price of natural gas is down 25% from its November levels, so we're seeing some moderation on that front. But prices are too high, and that's why we are very focused here on the things that we can do to unstick these supply chain bottlenecks that are affecting every country around the world. The thing that's unique about the American recovery right now is how strong our economic growth is, strongest in 40 years, how strong our labor market is, lowest unemployment claims since 1969. So we are uniquely well positioned to address what our real challenge is here with prices, and that's why we're focused on taking the steps that we can, including around the ports, moving things through our supply chains more quickly.
You know, Dirk, I could see what you and the president have been saying about, coming out of a pandemic where the economy was essentially in park, and any sort of activity after that or getting back to normal, you're going to see a spike in prices. But it seems as if the administration was caught off guard as to the seriousness and the widespread nature of this.
I don't think that that's fair. I think if you look at for supply chains, for example, the president signed an executive order on supply chain resilience on February 25th of this past year. He launched a supply chains disruptions task force over the summer. We've been at these issues for some months, even as we've seen very strong economic growth underlying our recovery. We've known that as you come out of a pandemic, you look at these data that are comparing to a year ago. A year ago, the economy was on its back. We were in lockdown. There were going to be ups and downs, but you take an example like at our ports. A couple of months ago, we sat down with business and labor and the terminal operators and said, we need to get these ports going 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In the period since, the dwell time, the amount of time that containers are sitting on docks, has come down about 50%. You see Walmart, Target, other big retailers are saying goods are moving more quickly through the supply chain as we get through this, the squeeze of the holiday season. So I think we are making progress on that front, but this has been a focus of ours for some time. It will continue to be because it's important to try to moderate those prices.
All right, there was criticism early on, Director, that the White House seemed to be dismissing the severity of these price increases, seemingly hanging it on the rich, and that they're the ones who are forced to pay these higher prices, when in fact everyone was. I mean, you widened and addressed this, so there's no use in going back at that. But I am wondering now how this gets to be fixed. I mean, isn't this really up to the Federal Reserve? Doesn't it need to start raising rates, to start doing the kind of maybe dramatic, some call it unpleasant action to get this under control?
Well, certainly monetary policy plays a role. I'm going to leave that to the Federal Reserve. We respect the independence of their decision making. From the fiscal policy side, what we need to do is continue to take steps to address what are global supply chain issues. And that's what you're seeing us do, and also to take action to try to reduce costs for families. And, this Build Back Better Act that we're debating in Congress right now, there has never been a piece of legislation in modern American history that would reduce costs for families more in areas where they are really feeling it. Prescription drugs, for example. The cost of insulin affects millions of families around the country. The cost of childcare, this bill would cut by more than half the cost of childcare that a typical family is facing, not only reducing costs, helping get more people to work, because by providing affordable childcare, parents and particularly women can get back into the workforce. So there are steps that we can take right now that would help propel the strength of this recovery while easing price pressures. pressures. So that'll continue to be our focus.
All right, well, it would be a first, right, in American history of a big spending package ultimately reduced inflation. It's usually the opposite, but you mentioned some of these features in that measure, sir, as, helping out those who need child care assistance and the rest. We didn't have any of those features back before the pandemic, and for a while we had an unemployment rate as low as 3.5%. So if we didn't need it then, why do we need it now?
Well, first, what's unique about this package, as you mentioned, is that it is fully paid for. So by being fully paid for, you're not adding to aggregate demand.
I mean, the CBO says that it's going to fall about $400 billion short in revenue over 10 years. Now, I don't put any faith in any estimate that's over 6 months, but having said that, they don't say it is fully paid for.
Well, what the CBO estimated today was a hypothetical bill that is not Build Back Better. The CBO, the Joint Committee on Taxation, the official scorekeepers have looked at this bill and said that it is, in fact, fully paid for. But to go to your question, we've faced challenges of rising costs of health care, rising costs of child care, rising costs of housing well before this pandemic, and they were imposing real challenges on American families even when we were in the pre-pandemic economy. These challenges are not new, but the opportunity we have to address them in a way that won't add to inflationary pressures is pressing right now. And that's, that's the logic of this bill. Particularly, you take something like housing. We have underinvested in the supply of affordable housing in this country for years now. Doing that now will help lower the cost of housing for American families, and if we pay for it, it won't add to aggregate demand or add to inflationary pressures.
All right, we shall see. The first big test would be getting that voted on, right? So that remains to be seen. Brian Deese, National Economic Advisor to the President of the United States, National Council Director. Thank you again. Very good having you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.